turning away. Global watchmen shining through the gray, from the shadows to the screen. They decode what the silence means. Click subscribe, let the veil be torn. This is the news we've been waiting for. Turning away. Global watchmen leading the way. Every story, every thread, for the living and the misled. Raise your voice, let the signal soar. This is the news we've been waiting for.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. My life has value.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Global Watchman News. My name is Lori Spahn. Hope you guys are all doing well. Here in the live chat, we do ask to keep it family friendly. There will be moderators in there to make sure that we stay within the terms of service put forth to us by the platform we're utilizing tonight. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Take a minute, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, so you know when we go live. So, guys, look who I saw at the local Piggly Wiggly. It's Big John. Hey, Big John.
Well, it's your old pal back again one more time.
That's okay. One more time, we'll take it. Well, how you been?
I've been well. Been laying low, making a few humor TikToks, but not much, I guess.
I think that I think I kind of feel how you feel on this. Maybe I think the door's just about closed, and when it comes to waking new people up. And I just don't. I think it's time to focus on other things other than I don't know, putting content out.
Right. That's because I mean now sometimes I'll get I'll see something and I'll have to make a response, and it's been I don't know, a little while since I've done that, but I feel like everything's so just we found out that the governments of the world do things to kids, and everybody's like whatever. And so basically Ishtar is out the window. Like any kind of, you want to know what they really got in Baghdad, you know what I mean? Everybody's like, yeah, who cares? So that's why I don't
Yeah.
I don't ever bother with it.
It's like, I would think that the people, when they found out that their government actually is doing these things to kids and they're doing these horrific things, you would think that there would be a bigger outcry or more of emotion. To me, it proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that I believe people are under a spell.
I mean, yeah, like the whole Babylonian blindness thing. I mean, it just took Daniel just to start ignoring stuff, Just I've said it numerous times. It's just he wasn't eating vegetables for some kind of new fad diet. You know what I mean? It was because he didn't want to eat he didn't want to eat people, and so that's what I mean. So that's why they smuggled in some other kind of food. So you know what I mean? Like it's just we're all prisoners here, and technically, if we were like really in a prison, would you just kind of mind your own business, or would you go? You know what I mean? Would you go get involved in everybody else's?
Right. Yeah. Because I mean, at this point, I think that if you don't already have a check mark next to your name, going against the grain right now is not going to be beneficial to yourself or conducive to your
Right. Yeah.
longevity.
Right. They'll ban you or shadow ban or whatever they do. Like it ain't. I know TikTok, like the views are just down to nothing. Like you said, unless you have a a check mark or whatever. Or,
yeah, I lost my Facebook page. I lost my Facebook page, I don't know, a month or two ago, and just about 2-3 days ago, they wanted me to verify that I was me, which I did, and I have had to do that a couple of times now. And so they reinstated my Facebook, but they took our Global Watchman News page. It's no longer on Facebook. So, and I'm not putting it back up. I'm not rebuilding. I'm not doing it. I've done it. I've lost count at the number of times that I've had to rebuild a community. I'm not doing it again.
Right.
It just
right. I think here at this point, I don't know what Trump's doing. I've never been a fan of that guy. I've always said he was Apollo. I mean, the thing is, you don't know if they're just everybody who's saying something right now. I'm thinking that the Democrats are going to get back into power, or whoever they may be, and then everybody's just kind of like shouting out to the rooftops. This is what I do. This is what I like. You know what I mean? And then so it's to me, it's like a roundup situation. Like I wouldn't.
Yeah.
It's. I think it's an operation to see who's who.
Yeah, I think it started in 2020 with the pandemic. I think they started categorizing us. You know, who's going to fall in line, who's going to give us the pushback, who's going to do all this. It's I think it's they're beta testing us.
Right. And it could be like with the
Yeah.
this energy crisis thing that could turn, oil fields. That's it's a weird thing because that price doesn't really it doesn't really go with the stock market. It's its own entity. Um, Obviously, gas can rise, um, but when you start seeing people talking about making minimum wage, $30 an hour, yeah, that's awesome. I get it, but people don't realize that a gallon of milk is going to be about $15.
Right. Yeah.
You can't, you know what I mean? Like I don't think they understand that, and it's okay. Like not everybody pays attention, or you don't have to be a damn economist or nothing, but if you raise the pay, everything else has to go up too. I don't know why nobody has ever understood that. I've
It astonishes me the number of people that don't understand what a free market is or how the free market works.
right, because they listen. And the thing is, it's like they want to call it a foreturning or whatever, but you have people, and I'm not scared to say it, but people, especially like the younger women, and I mean probably couples rather than like I don't know what guys do it, but they go get on these OnlyFans or whatever, then they make all this money. Well, all they're doing is just showing how easy it is, and then people had this idea of, oh wow, they work 24 hours a day, and it's so corny to me
Yeah.
that you know what I mean. It's like, you know what, I get people do their own thing, but it's like, no, they're not on a drilling rig. You know what I mean? It's like they're just in the bed. It's not like it's not a talent. Everybody's done it. It's just, but it's just what it is. Like America is Babylon, man. I mean, it's crazy what it is. Nobody cares what happens to people. Your money is, they're hyping up this, whatever you want to call it, pornography, and then want to raise minimum wage. Oh, you've been held down by the man, and it's like, no, they're like, this is a crashing of an empire.
Right. It is.
But isn't that what And another thing, if I do talk to people about it, and I'm like, well, one guy on an island told me that rich and poor, great and small, all got to have a mark to buy and sell. So I don't know exactly. That's not too many parameters. You know what I mean? Like rich and poor, great and small. That kind of covers everybody, don't it?
Yeah, it really does.
So
You
I
know,
mean,
it's weird because people are worried about the war, which we should be watching what's going on. But what's interesting about it is the effect that it's having on our economy is by design. This war is not designed, or it's not intended to be won by anybody. My husband said to me one day, he's like, why don't we just go in there and, just nuke them and get it done? I said, because that's not the plan. They don't want to do that. They don't want to end it quickly. This is going to be dragged out. This war with Iran and Israel and all the other countries, it's designed to destroy the world order that is in place right now.
right. Yep. New World Order, beast system, everything that just the old plain old Bible just says. You know what I mean? I get a lot of talking points. Obviously I talk about conspiracy or museum operations or whatever, and it's like those things happened and can happen, and stranger things have happened. But in the end, the simplest thing is, what does the scripture say? And I don't even buy into the whole, well, there's missing books, or I don't know. They had a few little things I saw came out about the Bible, and people are really going at it hard now that the Bible's literally just made up, basically. And I'm like, how can that book is so simple, I've never, I like, since I converted years ago, I never had a problem understanding it. It's just so literal to me. It's just like, hey, guy's going to show up. He's going to make you have a mark, and you can't do nothing without it. And you know, two good guys show up and fight him for a while, and then he overcomes them, and then, you know, it's like,
Right. Yeah. And
that's
that's another thing, John, is I think that they're going to use this war with Iran. I think they're going to destroy the Dome of the Rock at some point.
right. And that'll, I mean, in simplest terms, like whether or not, what's that guy's name? I talk about him not all the time. The Federal General Albert Pike. If he really wrote those letters, that last one kind of makes a lot of sense. He said the atheists and the Christians will be the one who accept Lucifer's light. Like, people should go read that letter. And it's like, that makes a lot of sense. Like, you know, whether he wrote it, whether it's made up or whatever, I'm just like, why would they write that?
Well, yeah. I mean, they put it out there. You know, they give us those breadcrumbs, and it's not our fault. It's not their fault if we don't pick up on it. It's kind of like, you know, with the movies and stuff that they have. But with Pike, I understand what he's saying, and how the Christians, the Bible says that even the elect shall be deceived. There's a deception that's coming that's so great that even the elect can be deceived. And I see that happening just by the people defending the Zionists. You know, people take that label. I'm a Christian Zionist. I'm like, okay, you better go back to the drawing board and look at that, because that's just, you know, the two are not compatible whatsoever. You know, yeah. So I think that that they're going to fall for it out of fear, because the Bible says, okay, and now I'm being sarcastic here, guys. The Bible says that those who bless Israel will be blessed, and those who curse Israel will be cursed. So out of fear of being cursed, they're going to stick with, you know, whatever Israel does. And, you know, that's their Messiah coming. So of course they're going to accept it, because, you know, but they've got a rude awakening when it comes to what the Bible really says about that topic.
Right. I used to never really.
I'm hoping. What's that?
I used to never really think about, you know, Israel being like that. I think when I was younger, I thought, well, you know, they got a cool army and everybody doesn't like them. You know what I mean? Like, I kind of looked at it kind of like a animated Bible story. You know, like, wow, you know, David was from there and he beat Goliath and Noah's Ark. You know, I had like a comic book mind towards Israel when I was a kid. And I thought they're trying to defend themselves, this and that. But then you look at it, it's like, man, there's a lot of stuff. They do a lot of stuff. I just don't understand what they're doing. You know, I mean, literally, like, oh yeah, well, no, we're not doing that. And then they go, oh, watch this, we'll blow a bunch of kids in Palestine. You know,
they're doing whatever they can to cause as much chaos as they can to bring forth prophecy.
Right. You know, they want that, guys. That's another thing, you know, there's always so many groups, and it's, you know, it's kind of like different groups at different events that, like you said, want to try to bring forth some kind of apocalypse or an event or whatever. Everybody has their own agenda.
Well, Iran too, though.
Right. I mean, because you have the whatever, you know,
during the time of chaos.
And I don't understand.
Yeah, when the Mahdi comes.
Are Persians. They're Persians. So Muslims, you know, Persians weren't Muslim. So you know, they were taken over by the idea of the Ottoman Empire. So it's like, but we were over there making Iraq and Iran fight each other. in the proxy war.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're the ones that, United States obviously is involved in everybody's business. And they did all that,
Yes.
Iran, lost 3 million people, got chemical weapons thrown out. I mean, it's like these people eat dog shit for protein. I don't think you're going to do nothing to them. You know what I mean? You're not going to go turn off their Wi-Fi. You can't defeat people like that.
Mm-hmm. No, that's true. You can't. Let me ask you a question. Do you think that Iran was close to nuclear weapons, or do you think that they were not a threat, like that guy that he just resigned? I can't think of his name. He said that Iran wasn't even a threat.
Well, I think the reason why Iran even exists right now is because they got some kind of a nuke. That's just why would they go after him now? You know what I mean? I think that the reason why it's now is because there's a lot more technology maybe to get these things. Bunker busters haven't been around that long, especially ones that the damn Iranians been digging in the mountains for God knows how long, since the 70s. I mean, so it's like I think a certain group was just waiting, but I think that Iran has always had an atomic age, in my opinion, because that's why they still exist.
Yeah, I think so too. And he's being investigated because he said that Iran wasn't a threat. But you're right. I mean, there's a reason why we're handling them with, I guess, kit gloves, because I really don't. I believe that first off, I believe that they've had nuclear weapons for a long time, because they've gone under the radar way too long. Not only that, but they've got allies. I mean, Russia's helping them now. What's preventing Russia from giving them one? What's preventing North Korea from giving them one? What's preventing China from giving them one? Or
look at North Korea. Who bothers North Korea? Nobody.
And I want to know why.
Exactly.
I heard a theory, and the theory might be just up your alley, John. I heard a theory that the reason why we leave North Korea alone is because the North Korean regime, they're protecting something ancient.
I mean, it could be.
That's what I can't remember where I read it from, but they said that there's things in North Korea that that they have that are ancient, that if we were to start pushing him, and because he's crazy, that he's little Cartman's crazy, that he would use that, and so we just kind of leave him alone.
Right. I mean, it's like I said, any kind of wild stories is possible, really is. And I mean, Korea was, like the borders were close to the old ancient dynasties of China. And, their first dynasty were red hair, white skinned giants, and.
Well, that's the reason for the wall, right?
Right. I mean, yeah, they had a lot of Nephilim over there at that time. And like I said, the first, look it up, everybody look it up. First Chinese dynasty they had red hair and pale skin. I mean, they were Nephilim people, they weren't white people. They were just red hair, white skin. That they were just what the Paiute Indians described in Utah, Nevada. So, but I mean, yeah, that's very plausible. That they could have that, definitely, and they obviously have a nuclear weapon, so that's why they're left alone.
He's crazy. I mean, I'm sorry, but he's
right.
Insane.
And they could have. There's so much stuff in Iran that nobody really. You have to find old encyclopedias to look at the ancient structures in Iran, which I think a lot of that got destroyed in the Iran-Iraq war. But they have a lot of ancient sites that are interesting that are kind of like trying to lock down their pyramids. It's kind of like the same thing over there in Iran. So if they got something too, who knows? I mean, didn't Enoch say there's 12 gates? You know what I mean?
Right.
Who's to say those things ain't spread everywhere? Or we recovered one obviously, but and I've heard stories of the the Uti and the Zuni having them in Utah. So I'm just like, who knows who has these things? So there's so much stuff underneath, just a bunch of stories that even if it did come out, Lori, that hey, guess what? We've brought together Enoch's 12 gates, and now we can summon the whatever. You know what I mean? Everybody be like, yeah, sounds good. Just keep my Wi-Fi on.
Yeah, I do believe that. I mean, they are definitely summoning through a lot of different channels. I mean, we've got CERN that just went full power up. I mean, they're giving it one last hoo-ah before they shut it down for.
Well, I mean, people talking about the magnetic shift is happening. I mean, people think like you don't think like it's going to be the ice age, or you don't think it's just a bunch of yahoos that have a bunch of ancient technology that are turning the shit on.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, why has it got to be dinosaur kind of stories? It just no. They're just. I saw today they're talking about that little spheres flying around out of nowhere, like spheres are flying. Like shit's activating, and I heard that years ago that things would be activated.
Yeah.
And then you saw like in War of the Worlds, the movie, like in 05, like the things were already buried here. You know what I mean? Like that either that's a really good story, movie plot, or no, that's something that's on the earth. Like something like things here, and it takes a while to get activated.
Well, look there's something going on. When you look at, we are up to 13, I believe, scientists that are dead. It was at 11. No, we're at 12. 12 or 13. I can't even keep track. But when because I did a show talking about the scientists a week ago, 2 weeks ago. And that was before I actually started like looking into what they all have in common. And why would you want to do away with the scientists that are working on anti-gravity propulsion, electrostatic propulsion systems, hypersonics, direct energy systems? A lot of them either worked at or were attached to NASA's Jet Propulsion Lab, and we know that's Jet Propulsion Lab is Parsons, right?
Right. Yep.
We've got two scientists from Los Alamos National Laboratory. We've got one, which I thought was interesting. So after the show I did, the next day I found something quite interesting. There's a scientist, his name's Carl. And if Deb, if you're in the chat, this is the reason why I called you that phone call. So Carl Grillmeyer, he is from California Institute of Tech. He collaborated with NASA, and he is renowned for his studies on water present on planets outside of our solar system. He also worked on a program called NEOWISE, NEOWISE, and infrared. And something that stuck out, I woke up in the middle of the night and I was thinking, I was like, wait a minute, NEOWISE, infrared. Where have I heard that before? So I got up and I was looking, and NEOWISE is a infrared telescope. And Why is that important? Well, if you believe in outer space, if you believe in the Anunnaki, if you believe in Nibiru, Nibiru is a dwarf star. It can only be seen with infrared. Nibiru's orbit, the elliptical orbit that it takes, will bring it to the South Pole or Antarctica before we can see it with the naked eye. So as it brings it, it's going to come up from underneath us, which is where the infrared telescope happens to be, is in Antarctica.
I said, wow.
Yeah. So if you've got people from Los Alamos, like I said, two from Los Alamos, we got a professor at MIT, we've got that Carl Wilmer, he was doing the NASA NEOWISE. Matthew James Sullivan, he was a former U.S. Air Force intelligence officer. He died before he could right before he could testify. He was going to be a federal whistleblower on UFOs, and he was taken out before that. William Neal McCaslin, he was a retired Air Force major, astronomical engineer, former commander of the Air Force Research Laboratory. I believe he was in it was Ohio. Ray Patterson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And this is what's interesting is WikiLeaks released an archive of Hillary Clinton's campaign chairman John Podesta's emails in 2016, UFO disclosure movement. Email hinted that McCaslin was developing a UFO cover story for new classified American defense technology of a terrestrial origin connected with Air Force Project Blue Book.
Right.
Monica Resna, she's a former aerospace engineer at JPL at NASA. She co-invented Mondaloy, a nickel-based superalloy used in rocket engines while working at Rocketdyne. And then we've got Amy Eskridge. Let's listen to Amy for just a minute. Let me pull her up because she is quite interesting. She put out a lot of videos. She founded anti-gravity. Let me pull up her video. I do have it somewhere here. That one, not that one. Well, I guess we'll go with, let's go with this one first. Oops, I don't want to do that yet. I pull it up on the screen. Share screen. Okay. Let's listen to her first.
3 times. I was present for one of the times. I happened to be home from Seattle at the same time that Hal came over, and I sat with him in my dining room over there at the dining room table, and he was talking about ultra terrestrials. And basically ultra terrestrials are like, he talks about extraterrestrial. Extra implies that they're from somewhere else, from the outside. Extra implies they're from not here, from outside. Ultra terrestrial.
They're from the doll unit.
They're not necessarily from the outside. They're from here.
Oh,
They're
so
from-
they're like ascended beings, or
No.
So then they're you, high
No.
IQ.
No,
What are they?
they're not ascended. They look like you and me. They look like you and me. But no, so
Okay, so this woman here, she died like shortly after she started talking about this topic. She was the co-founder of the Institute for Exotic Science. She claimed that her life was in danger. Her and her boyfriend, they used to get followed. There was always cars outside of their house. But she invented, she's a founder, like I said, the Institute for Exotic Science, anti-gravity propulsion and electrostatic propulsion systems. And this was the last video that she did. And she was found, quote unquote, suicided with a GSW. Kind of like our friend David Wilcock.
Right. Wasn't she from Redstone, or didn't she have her office in Redstone?
Yes.
That's remember when I said that years ago, that Redstone is where the Nazis went. Like that's the real thing. It was Redstone Arsenal. That's why that weird shit's in Alabama and Huntsville. All those communes.
She's in Huntsville. She's in Huntsville.
Huntsville is like that's Nephilim Central. Like that's all the communes from the 70s with the Air Force guys. And then they had a blip on the radar screen last June when they opened up Osiris's gate and nobody said anything. I mean, Redstone is where, von Braun was really at. All the rockets were over there. So Redstone's like the real Area 51.
Right. I believe, just a second. So she's in Huntsville, but there was also, if I'm not mistaken, the correspondent shooter, Cole Thomas Allen. One second, I'm looking it up. He also has ties to NASA and the Jet Propulsion Laboratory.
Right.
What are the chances of that?
Right, a bunch of MK Ultra people. I mean, they could have just used him. When he brighter, was he like? Didn't he have like a lot of awards or something? So I mean, you can Ted Kaczynski him, and then drug him up, and then I mean they didn't shoot him, but that'd have been if he'd have gotten killed, that probably would have been an easier way to get rid of him. Kind of two birds with one stone kind of deal.
Yeah, I don't. I found it I found the whole thing interesting. First off, how did he get? How did he even get in there? We got the Secret Service. I mean, there's.
Well, didn't he check in the hotel like a week before?
He did, yeah. But even he said that he was surprised that there wasn't more security around there.
It's it could be anything that they could have. Trump wants to release everything by July, and they're like, let's just use this, let's get rid of a scientist that knows a lot, and we'll just have him. We'll just MK Ultra him, and have him run. I mean, he didn't get shot, so I doubt he talks. I mean, who knows? They might get him in jail. Who knows?
Well, it's not just the United States that is having the dead scientists, which I was kind of shocked about. There's Chinese scientists that have been dying too. They've had, let me just pull up.
If they're all like UFO related people, propulsion or anti-gravity.
They are.
Like,
they are.
Right. That, like I said, that could be, that's the only thing that can make all these. And sometimes I sound kind of rude, but I think there's I just say white people churches, but because that's all I ever see.
Right.
You got a bunch of yahoos, Mark Driscoll. You just got a bunch of these pastors that I don't know, man. A lot of people, none of them they don't make any. It's all about money, right? So I just say white people church. But the only way that you can actually make these, turning to say fanatics is if you have something, spectacular technology to turn their minds from the idea of what they, supposedly love, which is the Lord. You can't have people. You can't have people discussing. Well, this should be the sign. Like, if all these people are disappearing and they're all related to UFO propulsion, so if UFOs show up, I think
Yeah,
okay.
that's what I think it is. I think that they've got something planned, which we know they've been doing it for a while, and I think that they're doing this because these are the people that are going to be like, whoa, wait a minute, no.
Right. I mean, Admiral Byrd said that the saucers came out of the water in Antarctica and tore up his planes and his ships, and they can fly pole to pole in seconds and all this other stuff. And they put him, quiet down, Admiral Byrd, and stay in this padded room for the rest of your life. You know what I mean? It's like,
right.
It's like, because they know that's the last straw. What did von Braun supposedly say? They're going to use an alien invasion, the fake one, to get everybody to do what they want.
Absolutely.
But that's all they can do.
Let me read this to you because I thought this was very interesting. The words that Newsweek used. The star of China's booming artificial intelligence defense sector had been working on Taiwan invasion scenarios until he died in an unexplained car crash in the early hours of the morning in Beijing, aged just 38. Many questions remain over the July 1st, 2023 death of Feng Yanghe, a professor at the National University of Defense Technology, who had won national competitions with his pioneering War Skull platform. Such as, why did an obituary in the state-run science news website, sciencenet.cn, say that he was sacrificed? Why was the brilliant scientist from Gansu province buried in a special cemetery in Beijing for the Communist Party elite, state heroes, and revolutionary martyrs? They actually use the word sacrificed.
Yeah, right.
So another one.
Well, it's like it's like when they have like Chris Bledsoe talking about the lady shows up, right? He's always talking about, everybody talks about Americans, you know what I mean? They don't talk about China and poor people in Bangladesh, and they don't talk. It's always about the lady came from North Carolina and came in my barn, and you know what I mean? Like, it's always about Americans, and that's what pisses me off. I'm thinking, no dumbass lady showed up, to tell you about the Christ. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if she came to America to tell the insufferable Americans who have nothing but Snapchat and, Wi-Fi.
Right.
It's so dumb. I'm just like, when something's talking to everybody on the planet, I'm not going to believe it. But I'm gonna be like, that's better. Y'all are getting better.
I know, right?
It's just corny. I mean, everything's based. No. Everybody on TikTok is like, this happened to me. Like, what? How come? Like, I'm just gonna say it. I've never heard anybody but white people talk about getting taken up by gray aliens. I'm sorry to say, I never heard any other story like that from any other race.
I think you're right. Actually,
it's true. I mean, that's why I'm like, I'm not saying there's not grays. I'm sure there is, and they bother people and they're little nasty things. But I'm just like, why didn't they go into some of the tougher neighborhoods? You know what I mean?
Right.
Why didn't they go into Ninth Ward, New Orleans? Like, I don't think a gray alien probably wouldn't go fuck around down there.
Yeah, I don't think that they would put up with too much of that.
I just never heard, I've never heard that. That's why half the shit I'm just like, y'all got to get better with y'all stories. Y'all got to get it. If it has to be, it can't be a certain group of people telling me,
Well, I mean, there's definitely something at work here. I mean, I don't believe in aliens per se. I told you, we talked about before we went live. I don't believe in aliens as I used to, and you used to believe in them also, right?
Right.
But there's something that. So when I was a kid, I lived most of the time with my grandparents because my mother was in a car accident when I was 13 months old, and so she was in the hospital the first 4 years of my life, basically. So I was with my grandparents quite a bit. My grandparents lived out in the country. Now they lived about 5 miles from the Niagara Falls Niagara Falls Air Force Base at the time, and there was always a lot of activity, I guess you would say, in the sky. And mind you, I was young. My grandfather was a truck driver, and he used to get in quite late at night, early in the morning. And I can remember my grandmother always waking me up, because it was just me and her. And I would have to get dressed. She would, I had to put my boots on and my winter coat, but I'd still have my pajamas on, and we'd get in the car and we'd have to drive to pick up my grandfather. And on more than one occasion, I remember the car dying, like literally just cutting out. And these just bright lights, and again, we were in the country. There was no street lights, it was dead on country black. Okay.
Right.
But yet there was lights. And my grandmother, I'd be like, Grandma, what? She's like, it's okay. She goes, just give it a minute. They'll leave and the car will start. And sure enough, lights would stop, car would start, and we would carry on. And then it was one time, it was kind of like, it was just about ready to get dark. My grandfather was outside in the garden. Now, to understand, you got to picture their house. It sat back like probably an eighth of a mile from the road. And so the driveway, the house was a little bit offset, and it had this big picture window in the front. Now, their house was originally a garage. It was but they turned it into a 1-bedroom house. But it was a garage, and it was offset totally from this driveway. So when you turned in the driveway, your lights would kind of like you could see them briefly when the car made the turn if it was coming from the one way.
Yeah.
But then when it would come straight up the driveway, you wouldn't see the lights. Okay. So it was starting to get dark out. My grandfather was out back in the garden. I remember him running in the house and saying to my grandmother, "Get her under the table." And my grandmother grabbed me. We were doing something in the kitchen, and her and I went underneath the kitchen table. And I remember this bright light shining through that picture window with this humming sound, like a mechanical humming sound. And I remember tasting like metal in my mouth. Now, I might have, this made me illogical as an adult. I might have bit my tongue or something and I was tasting blood. I don't know, but I had this metallic taste in my mouth. And my grandmother, we were underneath the table for, I don't know. I don't know how long, but then the light just boom, it was gone and everything was fine. So there was something, and we weren't the only ones that reported this. There was, at that time, there was many people in that area around Niagara Falls Air Force Base that saw these things in the sky.
Right.
So there's something. Now I know that aliens don't exist, that they're extra interdimensional, not extraterrestrial. And they're possibly the fallen angels, the demons. But they have a purpose. I mean, there's a reason that they've got us believing in aliens.
Right. You have to have a character to match the craft per se, right? Because if you just have craft, which are most likely just reverse engineered fallen angel technology, and you never, you can't land it. Now I will say this: I'm not saying every person who talks about alien abduction or whatever an encounter that I ain't saying that, because they're all happen to be white that they're making it up. Just like your story. I know you just say you never told that, and I believe you 100%. But it's like they, a lot of people report like, Nazi looking people on the craft when they're abducted. And I could, that's plausible to me. Cause you got Admiral Byrd. Like, why would that guy make up a story? Hey, Nazis flying around these damn flying, why would that guy make that up? you know what I mean? He could say anything. He went to Antarctica on a bunch of ships. Like, he could tell a damn story. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he could really get into it. He said, no, flying saucer, shot up in planes. And then, I had a limb back. That's all he said. But with, so what I'm saying is that they have to have a character to come out of these spaceships when it's just really, humans in them. And,
well,
so
it would make sense because, you've got, like I said, these scientists, a lot of these scientists had a lot to do with anti-gravity propulsion. So if they are planning on this fake alien invasion, it would seem to me, it would seem plausible that they now have the technology.
Right. And then it just like that lady said, that Amy Eskridge, she said, no, they look like us. But here's the thing. If a group of people who possess that technology or a craft and they land in your field and they walk out, you're not going to be thinking, hey, those are a bunch of local yahoos from the Air Force Base. You know what I mean? You're going to be like, wow, they look like us. You're going to have this notion and you're going to tell a story like, man, these damn aliens that I've been told about with almond eyes, they just look like us. But it's like, no, they're really here with you. They're not from the future. They're not from the past. The assholes just got technology. That's all it is.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to play a video. This guy's name is Paul Hellyer, and I played it before a number of times over the years. This is back in 2012. His name's Paul Hellyer. He's the ex-Canadian Defense Minister. And he was talking to their parliament or whatever it is. Why don't you guys just take a listen real quick to what he's got to say.
Although as Minister of National Defense, I had sighting reports of UFOs. I was too busy to be concerned about them at the time because I was trying to unify the Army, Navy, and Air Force into a single Canadian Defense Force. And that itself was a kind of battle to the finish. So this was not high on my agenda. But about 10 years ago, I started getting interested due to a young man from Ottawa sending me material on the subject. I told him I was too busy to read it, but he had confidence that someday I would. It took me a while to get around to reading it, but I took it for my summer reading in 2005 and was really impressed with what was contained in it. And what I thought to myself is there are huge issues here, huge issues. And the American people and the people of the world have a right to know what's going on because they're part of it. It's not just an isolated thing. I accept the invitation of Victor Vigiani, who's over here somewhere, and his cohort, Mike Bird, to speak to a symposium at the University of Toronto. And I said, UFOs are as real as the airplanes flying overhead. That gave me the dubious distinction of being the first person of cabinet rank in the G8 group of countries to say so unequivocally.
I'll fast forward to the part I have over here.
So until it turned around and a document was prepared.
There you go.
Which concluded that at least 4 species had been visiting Earth for thousands of years. And this is my own view at this stage as well. So, except for that, there are just a couple of things that we've talked about that I'd like to refer to. And one was that we were referring to them as they until this morning when Linda Moulton Howe, I think she was the first one, actually named 3 different species. I don't think we can any more refer to them as they because they're not an amorphous mass. They are different species and consequently may have different agendas. I don't think we can say that they all have the same agenda any more than we could say that the United States, China, and Russia had the same agenda. Our real interests may be very similar, but as of now, our perceived interests are still quite far apart. One more observation before I begin what I want to say, and that is that we spent quite a bit of time talking about the 66-year-old cadavers, and I was glad to have Linda this morning finally say that there are live ETs on Earth at this present time, and at least 2 of them probably working with the United States government.
What do you think about that, John?
Right. I mean, he's just kind of, like, why would he make that up kind of deal? He's just,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he literally went on the record. Why would you do that? Why would you risk your entire career to go on the record to say that there's these species that's working with the governments?
Right, and then nobody ever pays. I mean, the drawings are there. New Mexico, Utah, Nevada, like the old, Anasazi, place you can visit, Four Corners. Like they had the different species drawn with the portals on the canyon walls and stuff,
Right.
and it's like it's all real. I went to a conference in 2016, and the Uti, Zuni, and the Hopi.
Oh, they all talk about the sky gods or the sky people. Or
right, and here's the thing: when I listened to them talk at that conference in 2016. They talked about the praying mantis species of alien or whatever. And I'm like, they're like, yeah, just they don't, they all 3 different groups talk about them. They don't like eat people or nothing. They just kind of like, see what you're doing and this and that, but they're praying mantises. They look just like it. And then I'm like, okay, why would they pick that bug? You know what I mean?
Right.
Why would this group of indigenous people be like, you know what, we're going to trick these white guys? Well, I'm going to tell them that a big old praying mantis came.
Right.
They didn't make that up.
Right.
And yet years later, like probably 2 years ago, you remember that guy in Stephenville, Texas, that was in his deer stand and that damn UFO was over his property? And the Air Force came and like threatened to kill him and take his land and all that. Remember that?
No, I don't.
Okay, look it up. The lady who reported on it, she lost her job. She ended up dying, but not because of that. Maybe, I don't know what happened to her, but she was a reporter in Stephenville, Texas, and she believed that guy. And she made a big deal of it. And they came to her office, some Air Force colonels, and said, you better drop this story. She worked for a newspaper. And she said, I'm not going to. And they ruined her financially. She got fired, all kind of stuff. And then the guy who saw it, he worked for Halliburton, and he had the helicopters flying at his house, stirring up his horses, just kind of like harassing him because he kept telling everybody. They said shut up, but he kept telling everybody in town. They're like, hey man, what'd you see? That he goes, that damn spaceship was probably a mile wide. He goes, it didn't make a damn sound. So anyhow, the last thing that he said, and he's still alive, but he don't talk about the shit. I heard he went to seclusion or whatever on his farm or whatnot. But this is what he said. When he was in his deer stand, he had a rifle with a scope on it. And he goes, I was looking at the craft through my scope. He goes, I didn't see any kind of rivets like it went together or whatever. And he said they had a window. And he said they asked him, "What'd you see?" He goes, "Dad," it was a big praying mantis.
Wow.
So why, you know what I mean? Why would that guy say that? Why would he connect like what'd you see? A praying mantis. But yeah, look it up. They made I think David Pilatus, that missing 411 guy, did a documentary. But yeah, he had that lady. She was a reporter, and yeah, they ruined her, man, because she wouldn't shut up about that story. And then people around the town were like, once we found out, he goes, she's gone now. She passed away, but he goes, I'd love to tell her that we did believe her.
It's interesting that it's not, well, yeah, I can't find it. So there's more besides the scientists that are disappeared. And I thought about it when you were talking about when you had gone to a conference. That there's people also that are dying that are connected with Ancient Aliens, the History Channel's show.
Right, a lot of those guys, yeah.
Yeah, David Wilcock being one of them. I find it. What's that? I'm trying to picture.
I wonder why they don't go after that crazy hair guy.
I like him. There's another woman. Hold on a second. I have her name written down. Her name is Linda Moulton Howe.
I've heard
You
that.
ever heard of her?
Yeah, I have.
Okay. She is an investigative journalist specializing in unexplained phenomena, UFO encounters, alien contact. She was featured on Ancient Aliens, and she
deceased?
She spoke to a guy that wanted to talk about Antarctica before he died. And so she's been doing a lot of videos. I think they're probably going to off her next. But she was talking about
I had remembered that name. I thought her.
Yeah, let me pull up her picture. I
thought her daughter, somebody came out and was trying to get her to stop doing that. I remember her from something. Somebody was talking about her, like her daughter or something.
Let me pull up her picture for us. The Molten Howe. She
I was gonna say one more thing. I always talk about how just simple, basic reality, right? So, if you read the Bible, the serpent in the garden apparently had legs and arms, right? Because his punishment was what? Crawl on your belly.
Right. Yep.
Okay.
Exactly.
So, what is the deal with the bipedal serpents hieroglyphs in the Dendera Temple of Hathor? Like, why is there a snake with arms and legs and they're with the humans, like all over these you know what I mean? Like that's basic reality. So I just read in the Bible that the serpent had arms and legs and he got punished. But here's a picture of him on an Egyptian temple. You know what I mean? Like 2 + 2 is 4. There it is.
Right. Exactly. This is her.
Why would they have that? Why do the Egyptians? You know what? They're all laying around. You know what? Those silly people, our silly descendants. I'm gonna paint a snake with arms and legs on the wall, and then they're gonna be like, what is that?
Well, I mean, you know what? There probably was assholes back there then too. Hey,
right.
Jimmy, we'll put something on the wall. 20 years, 50 years down the road, they're going to be, what the hell is that? But here's the thing. How do you explain it with just about every civilization? They all depict
They all tell the same damn story. You're right. I mean, I was harping on that years ago about the, like in Mexico. Now, the whole artifact thing, people tag me that on TikTok still. The artifacts, I'm like, you know what? The artifacts that I had, locked PDF files of, and the pictures that I literally, they're locked. I can't send an email to anybody. I can only screenshot, but that those artifacts and what I saw, which blew my mind, what they're supposedly digging up now in Mexico is like they're just taking the rendition of that, and then they're they're building these new statues, and the one that's they're being passed around now, it's a elongated skull, entity, and a woman that's topless, but I laugh because I'm thinking now. I want to show the pictures that I have of the pottery that was really dug up for a fact. And the women that are the women that are drawn on that, which you think's a woman, you know what I mean? Like you this is just like, yeah, they drew some, female anatomy on it, but these statues they have now that they're trying to pass off, it's like these sculptures are like beautiful women with like boobs up to her chin, like, no, they didn't have that.
Right.
You know what I mean? That, only augmentation can do that. Nobody's got up to their chin naturally. I mean, I could be wrong, but I'm just saying, like, you could tell that somebody made that, you know what I mean? Like recently.
Yeah.
No Toltec woman looked like that. I'm sorry.
Exactly. But I mean, but if you look at the cave drawings, I mean, I'm
Well,
sure
that's what I'm saying,
some of it's not real, but I mean, most of it. The Smithsonian, you got to be careful. We've talked about this before, because if the Smithsonian Institute is connected with it, guaranteed there's a cover up somewhere.
Oh, right. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's how you can tell, because I'm looking at the other sculptures and drawings or carvings or whatever on this stuff that was dug up years before this stuff. And it's like, if you want to say primitive, they're drawing a girl. She's not,
Very primitive. Yeah.
Right. It's like a stick figure with some cones on it. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. But, and you got these statues with these like Playboy bunny women with aliens. I'm just like, that ain't real.
Right.
Make an ugly one. If it was ugly woman, I'm not being mean, but if it was like, they don't look like that. Not Toltec Mayans, they didn't look like that. They wore bras? I don't think so. Just whatever. If you're gonna trick somebody, I can give a few pointers and be like, you know what, that doesn't look like.
Make it believable, will you? Make it believable.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I'm just like, if you're gonna try to do something, like, don't make a sculpture of a Playboy model or whatever you think like a woman should look. You could tell, because it's like, even today, men have a perception, not everybody. I'm just saying, like, that's why they have pornography, because most men think that, a French maid's at their house or a stepmom or whatever. You know what I mean? It's just like that's how America is now.
Yeah. Sadly.
Men have a perception of like these made up things. So I can tell when they make a sculpture to try to trick me with an alien, the woman looks like, some kind of like porn star. I'm just like, that's not real. I can tell you out the back, they never look like that. That's an American made up bullshit. Somebody built that.
No, it's very true. I mean, you've got to consider the source. That's for damn sure.
Right. I think nowadays I'm just more of a realist. Like, it's just real to me. It's simple. It's real. I mean, if it's just true. If Jesus said the old will be the new, I'm going to listen to what he said. He didn't say nothing about the only people coming in the future, not from the future, in the future, is 2 witnesses and him. That's it.
Yeah, because I remember I asked before we went live, I asked John a question. I said, because, looking at that Amy's video, I asked him, I said, what do you think? Do you think that the aliens that we see, or the quote unquote aliens that we see, could be us from the future? And that's what you said. It's, The
Right.
Bible.
I just go with what he said. He's right. He's right. Solomon said it too, right? The old will be the new. That's a way more plausible story. Is if you have a group of people who nobody knows because they don't go out to Walmart or nothing like that. They just kind of stay in their castles or whatever they do. And they possess a UFO. Like I said, if a regular Joe Schmo got out of a UFO, you're going to think, oh, this, you're going to listen to his ass. You're going to be like, wow, he could tell you the most dumbest shit ever, and you'll believe him. You know, the sky's blue. Oh, wow, this alien, he looked like me. He came out the UFO, said the sky was blue. I believe it. You know, it's like you'll, I mean, not necessarily me. I'm going to be like, where'd you get that at? I'm not going to be like, oh, they have, oh, you're from the future. No, because I already know what the Lord said. Jesus said in the future, not from the future. Witnesses in him and 10,000s of his saints when he comes back. So, I mean, that's the only story I know. That's the only story I'm going to pay attention to.
Exactly.
Everything else is a bunch of made up shit by white people, in my opinion. I think the elites are all a bunch of white people.
Well, you know.
You know what I mean? Like, think about it. People laugh when I say it, but it's like, what were the Nephilim, the giants? Red hair, white ass skin. You know, it's like, how come they all look like that? Like, what's the point? Like, what's going on?
Right. No, you're absolutely right.
A bunch of big white people, giants. Like, what's the deal?
Too funny.
Just laugh, man. To me, it's just like, what? Something's going. What's happening? Why is it that? Why is it that? Why is it that?
Well, I think you're absolutely right when you know you said when we went live that you know all this stuff. I think this is all just a distraction to get us away from the fact that
it's the only thing that they have left. They have to tell us Jesus is sheep, none of this pen or whatever, you know, they're trying to try to pull. I just that's the only way. I'm sorry, but there ain't nothing that, I mean, I feel like because I know it now, I'm watching for it. And even Jesus said, well, when they say come hither, don't go over there because to find the corpse, follow the vultures. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Why would that guy say that? Why would the most powerful thing in existence be like, you know what? I'm not going to be hollering at you. If you want to find me, you know, corpse, follow the vultures kind of deal. I'm not going to be hooping and hollering. My sheep know me. You know, this is all the things that guy said. So
that's right.
They have to use him. They have to use, you know, the Antichrist or whatever. Instead of to get people to worship, because you can't have, I'm sorry, but you can't have some guy be like doing everything against, like, people are going to be like, well, that's the Antichrist, so I'm not going to follow him. Then guess what? The trick's over, you know, you know what I mean? So he's not going to be against, they're going to make it like, no, this is the Lord. He loves you. They have to. There's nothing else. There's nothing else. There's nothing else you can do. I'm sorry, but there's nothing else. You have to use some alien bullshit to get people to fall away. You can't do that.
Or to question their faith.
Right. Because like I said, you know, look how fast it spun, whether they had aliens in the mall in Miami or whatever, that was bullshit.
I actually revisited that. That's funny you should mention that. I just actually revisited that story about 3 or 4 days ago, just to because something's off about that too.
Right. I'm not like I'm saying, like that maybe it happened. You know, I'm not denying that there isn't a bunch of damn fallen entities and Nephilim and dogmen and all this shit I've always talked about for years. I know they exist. So it's like, but it's the fact of how they run the psychological part of it on everybody.
Right.
Because, you know, they get you in tune, but you also, they can run 4 different details of the story, turn into 8 details, turn into 16, you know, then by the time it gets to you, you got everybody talking about some just old whatever, some old bullshit. But that's the thing, like people, they flock to the idea of the unknown, right? If you want to call it supernatural, but the Bible, people in the Bible, wasn't that supernatural? Wasn't, Abraham's walk to Sodom supernatural? The angel showing up to Lot, wasn't that supernatural? You know what I mean? The talking,
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
all that nowadays supernatural, they've turned that from like the Lord talking to you to a bunch of ghosts knocking or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, but people flock to the wrong kind of supernatural. So they could do anything. Why are ghost shows popular even though half the shit's fake? It's because people flock to the supernatural unknown. Even though in the beginning, Balaam didn't really pay attention. He was like, yeah, that donkey's talking, but I mean, I kind of get it, but oh, there's an angel in front of him, So I'm just saying humans nowadays are very easily persuaded. Not everybody, but it doesn't matter because majority rules.
And again, it goes back to the great deception, and the Bible tells us that it's coming.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I'm sorry, but that's it has to be that. There ain't nothing else. Everything's been thrown at us besides that. And now you got like a soft disclosure trying to disappear these guys, and they're hoping everybody, oh yeah, don't pay attention to the scientists who built UFOs. Don't think about that when we unleash UFOs and the aliens get us. There'll be a few, there'll be us. Like, yeah, I don't know that they're trying to trick us, but like I said, it don't matter. We're the only guards left in the asylum. That's it.
Right. Okay. I just got sent a video by Ken. Let me see what. Do you know who Henry Moon is?
Oh, that guy on TikTok.
What's that?
Is he on TikTok? The young
he
guy.
is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I like him. Let's see what. What? Yeah. Let's see what he's got to say. Oh, why isn't it playing? Okie dokie. Well, let's try it again.
Just be the end of the world for real.
Okay.
It might just be the end of the world for real this time. The channel that made I Pet Goat 2 just came back with very cryptic messages. The channel that made Doomsday and the Antichrist coming and all that stuff. And all he's ever posted was I Pet Goat 2 until now. He literally just now dropped a series of very short cryptic videos, and they have to do with the very end of this, so it seems.
You always say it's the end of the world.
Nah, I've not said that since 2012 Mayan Doomsday. Well, let me show you how crazy this gets, because that same exact video recorded years ago called the strike on Iran, shut up, that just happened. And then right after that, you had this guy doing some sort of Shiva's destruction dance, and then this Antichrist figure comes breaking through the ice, and then something crazy happens. We'll get to that in 1 second. So again, so you get this. In that video, he showed all things that did happen, what would happen, and finally the Antichrist coming out of the ice. And then randomly today, of all days, he just dropped like 5 or 6 videos all showing an icebreaker. Like, are you serious? And his video ended with the Antichrist breaking out of the ice and sailing through the ice. Meanwhile, you have missiles flying around the air. Or we'll say an Antichrist type figure. So watch this pyramid. Right now we're seeing global expansion from country to country destroyed. What happened in World War II? World-renowned structures were blown up. Global expansion of U.S. power, maybe other countries get mad. And then what? Maybe the Antichrist, and then war, and then these renowned structures destroyed. It might just be the end of the world for real this time. The channel that made
So yeah, that's another thing is have you ever watched I Pet Goat?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Yeah. Every time I play it on our channel, we get punished for it. So I'm not going to play it. But if anybody wants to watch it, it's over on the channel called Heliofant, Heliofant. And it's true. That channel only did one video. and that was iPet Goat 2 right here. It's been longer than 2 years, but they disappeared for a while, and then they came back about 2 years ago, and they just posted the Heliofont or iPet Goat video. But then, yeah, they came back and they posted a bunch of videos, and it just seems that both iPet Goat and the videos that they posted all have to do with the war that's going on right now.
You know, here's something. When Daniel was in Babylon, why would the Prince of Persia hold down his prayers? And it took Michael to come get the prayers, right? Michael was the only one who could come get the prayers because Gabriel couldn't do it. So, Daniel's in Babylon. He's not in Persia. So what's, you know what I mean? Like, to me, this is just a replay of the book of Daniel, what's going on. Like, we're in the book of Daniel right now. Daniel saw the last 70 years, and then John of Patmos kind of had the Lord show up, and then the revealing of Jesus Christ, and John, write down what you see. You know what I mean? Like, so you only got two guys that are like, Daniel stopped it, and then John finished it. But there was a war going on in Babylon and in Persia, because when the hand wrote on the wall, who came and destroyed the Babylonians in a blink of an eye? The Medes and the Persians, right?
Right. Wow.
So I mean,
okay. Yeah.
To me, it's like that's playing over again. Like, that's like that. Daniel was in the middle of a war, and the only reason why they had him there was because he's the only one who could interpret these dreams.
Interpret dreams, yeah.
And the dreams of what? The last empires, and the iron won't mix with clay because their DNA won't mix, and it's like, what the, it's like, this is just a repeat to me. But I think there's a lot more Daniels now.
I think, yeah. Wow. Yeah, you're right.
I mean, that's just how I see it. That just, because Nebuchadnezzar, he had his own timeline too, because it was his dreams. It was his, it was his interpretation. So he was like, he had them all written down, and Daniel just came in and he told Daniel, hey, this is what I dreamed. What does it mean? And then it's Daniel was all about a timeline. Well, you don't think that Nebuchadnezzar's dreams was what built the timeline? You had to have both.
Not only that, but Nebuchadnezzar, wasn't it Hussein that thought he was the reincarnation of a Nebuchadnezzar?
Who's that? Hussein, yeah.
Yeah.
Only because, see, Nebuchadnezzar used to dig. This is what Hussein said. I'm Nebuchadnezzar reincarnated because he was digging up Babylon.
Right.
Well, Nebuchadnezzar. He didn't make nothing. He was digging up the old technology from Sumer, when the Anunnaki ruled. He was digging all that shit up and then having it, and then had Daniel translate, because he was starting to have these dreams, these, because he was doing pharmakia. Everybody's always done that to get the visions.
Right.
So it's like, people, and real quick, going to the Anasazi, when they're in their kivas and they're doing pharmakia, that's the only way that they can communicate with the reptilian deceiver. This is their own words. And, have these giants come through the portals to get information. Like, why would the Anasazi say that? That's oral tradition passed down through, just like the conference I went to. The UT, that they're all descendants of the Anasazi. And they're doing pharmakia, but it's like, do you think these people who, by the way,
they did DMT, they did peyote. I mean, they did all that stuff to be
Here's
able
the
to
thing.
communicate with the gods.
Right. When the Anasazi were doing that, Moses was writing the Torah across the world. That was the same time.
Oh wow.
It's all about the timeline. Every group connects the times. You can't have Moses without the Anasazi. You can't have Daniel without Nebuchadnezzar. You can't have Kronos without Kyrios. You can't have Kronos without Kyrios. Those are two different gods. You know what I mean? One may be in a robot. But you can't have Kronos without Kyrios, because time has to have two things. A day and a night. That's how God said it. It's got to be two things. Well, that's the same thing with people. It just comes together. What if I was the only person on the planet? I ain't got to be at work at 10 o'clock. You know what I mean?
Right.
Everything's together with time. That's why it's Kronos and Kyrios. It's two different systems. But yeah, I mean, Nebuchadnezzar, I always say about that the fiery furnace, how do you make things 7 times hotter? You can't. Everything burns to a certain temperature. The only thing you can make hotter is a nuclear reactor. And the thing is, the Bible says they donned their hats and their hosen. Why the hell they put on suits before they went in there?
Right? Oh my gosh, right?
Turn it up hotter 7 times. Huh. Well, what you gonna add? There ain't no acetylene. There ain't. You gonna put some more wood in there? That only burns so hot. But
right, exactly.
You can make a nuclear reactor hotter.
Interesting.
So, I'm just saying, like, that's how I look at it. It's it's just a basic reality. And it's like, is that far-fetched? Is it far-fetched everything that you see today? Is it far-fetched that Nebuchadnezzar didn't dig up an old nuclear reactor? I mean, atom, that's
right.
The nuclear codes had never been known before. Yeah, right. The Huxleys had the nuclear equations before the Civil War. I mean, Oppenheimer just got permission to put it together.
Exactly.
But yeah, that's how I see it. I mean, everything to me is just the old. It's just the old will be the new. That's the only way that they can pull off like that. If you have a small group of people tricking a larger group of people, because that can be done so easy. It can be, and that can be done in any situation.
Mm-hmm.
What about a surprise party? One person knows about a surprise party. You're going to surprise the hell out of 25 people. You know what I mean? Or so on. Whoever's over there. If you told your employees of 60 people that we're going to have a little luncheon, and it turns into a surprise birthday party, with dancers or whatever, it's like, yeah, that's the easiest concept in the world. One person tricked 60 people. One person with a UFO can trick 1,000 people.
Sadly, a lot of people are going to be deceived when it happens and it comes. A lot of people. And I personally think that that's why the scientists are being silenced, is because I think that when it does happen, they're the only ones that can say that's not real.
Well, right. Yeah, exactly. Because, yeah, you can have a few of us that will say that, but like I said, majority always rules. It don't, it just goes back. We are the last guards in an asylum. That's it.
Right. Well, that's very true. Oh, so true. But so where do you see this war? Where do you see it going? I've said my opinion of it. I don't think it's winnable. Where do you? Because we've got a little less than half an hour to go. I just want to get your take on where do you see us in 6 months?
6 months, probably in definitely a crashed economy.
Yeah.
I think, like I said, the oil prices go higher. That just makes more for fuel prices because, refinery back in the day, you had a few, refineries that there's only like 2 vessels in a refinery that actually has like a, 200% profit. That's like your refractionators and your cryo units and stuff that pull either fluids out of gas or, or makes the, separates the crude into the octanes or your C4 ethanes or, just very expensive equipment that does that. And the technology of that really isn't new. It's been around for a long time. It's just, they may have, tweaked it here and there, but like I said, the more the oil goes up, it's not the gas stations, obviously, because gas stations don't make money on gas. They make money on potato chips that you buy. So, people try to, price gouge. I mean, it's not like, I mean, that does happen, obviously, but gas stations don't make money on gas. That's always been known. It could it'll make the pump, if it's more at the pump, but obviously, you can't make $7 an hour working at wherever I say McDonald's or whatever, $7.25 you make, and you can't pay rent with that. And you can't put, unless you're driving a damn Geo Metro, like you're going to spend at least, $60 on fuel.
Right.
If it's above $3 or whatever, but you can't evade Iran. You're not going to invade them. That's all. It's kind of like Afghanistan. It's where empires go to die. I mean, it's just, we learned that in Afghanistan. Obviously, got out of there because you're not going to. So what? You mean we only held that place in reality because we guarded their opium fields. You know what I mean? It's like
right.
That wasn't real. Like all that. I'm sorry to say, but Bin Laden, I think, was in kidney failure probably during 9/11. I just don't. That was us. That was a group of people, and that was us, and that was America. You're just trying to be like, the old will be the new. Like, oh, we got to get everybody rallied up, but we also got to take everybody's rights away with the Patriot Act. It's just, it's too easy to see once you just kind of look at it. You don't want to think that, but it's like once you learn it, you're like, wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Just like the stories of the passports floating down from the aircraft, the terrorists. It's like, come on, man, really, dude. Come on now. If you got better, I believe you.
I was going to say, if you're going to deceive somebody, do better.
Right, do better, and I'll buy it. I'll believe your story of the passengers who took out the terrorists. I mean, in my opinion, I think that I've always said, I've never heard it anywhere else, and I'm not special, but I've always said this. Those planes were like 757s. Okay, that's a lot of passengers on there, but they were all red-eye flights. So would it be easier to get rid of 200 total passengers or max capacity at like 1,000 people on those planes?
Right.
So I don't think the planes, I think everybody who was on them flights, whether they were real or not, I think they were all put into that 5th plane and flown to Indiana, because there was a story, and I remember it from that year. They said a plane landed in Indiana safely, and you never heard of it again, because like the mayor of the town was like, yes.
Wait. Was it Indiana or was it Ohio?
I want to say it was Indiana.
I thought it was Ohio because they landed it on the tarmac and buses came up and took everybody out, but there was a NASA building and they were the ones that witnessed it.
Maybe so. I could have sworn it was Terre Haute because that's where all the UFOs supposedly are over there. But
they, yeah, because I believe
okay.
that's where Todd Beamer made his phone call, was from inside that
building. Right. So here's the thing.
Yeah, the building.
Take the 4 planes and get the passenger lists off of Wikipedia or whatever and add them up. You could put everybody on one plane. From the 4 planes, You can put everybody on one plane.
Wow.
And TMZ came out. Remember that fifth plane? They're like, there's a fifth plane.
Yeah.
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 That had all the passengers on it, whether they got killed, whether they got paid. I mean, I'm gonna tell you, if you have like a few hundred people in a hangar, and you're like, okay, everybody, listen up. We're gonna kill your fucking families if you say anything, or just be quiet. I'm pretty sure. I bet they're quiet.
There was an author. Her name's Rebecca Roth. And I remember her name because when I was with the Sentinels of Truth, they either, I don't remember, we either, I know Sean Carone, I know he interviewed her. I don't remember if she was on with the Sentinels of Truth. Anyways, she wrote a book. It's called Methodical Illusion. And if you guys get a chance, read it. Let me pull it up for you guys. She talks about she was a stewardess.
Yeah.
For the longest time. And so she, kind of has the inside scoop on being a, with the industry. But let me see if I can find.
I'll say too. One more thing, and I'll get back quick to Iran. Okay, so you're not going to invade Iran, so they got the blockade going, but that only you got the Arab Emirates. They left OPEC, so that drives the price up.
Mm-hmm.
It's just all these things aren't good, and it's just going to crash the economy. But they want digital credit scores and digital banking, so why not have a crash and have BlackRock ready to go because they bought up all the banks and all the housing during COVID? It's like, okay, they did all these things. So it's kind of like Skynet or whatever. This shit just takes control whenever they're ready.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, why is that? Well, that's the whole thing. So I see that's where it's going, in my opinion, is that, they're gonna just kind of bamboozle everybody, get Iran to have a Rothschild bank once it falls at some point, and then just everybody.
Because I don't think people realize that that Cuba, which I think is, if you look at it, so Iran, Cuba, North Korea, I think are the only three that are left without a Rothschild bank, without a central bank. And
Right.
Who did Trump say that they were going, or who did JD Vance say they were going after next? Cuba.
Right. I mean, maybe that's, I don't know. I work with people from Cuba, and I mean, I hear they tell me the wildest shit I've ever heard. I'm like, and it's true. I believe them. And they're like, communism has destroyed that place. But I get it. I get it. That's true. That's a real thing. But also, there is also a nefarious side to it. We all know that. Which is why they want Cuba. But yeah. So they're excited. They're the guys I talk to. They're hoping. They said there's a lot of people there that are just so indoctrinated that they don't want the U.S. to free them or whatever. But he said that there's a lot of family members left that, and some of them say that they would go back if the U.S. took over.
Oh my gosh.
So I mean,
Yeah,
I mean, like I said, that's their home, and they're down to earth guys that I work with, and it's just, I understand. When we talk about Che Guevara and Castro, and they know a lot of history. A lot of young guys from Cuba know a lot of history, and they agree with me. I'll say, man, I said, I get it. Revolutionary's good, but I said they mock, they mocked him, and I said, they killed Che Guevara. He goes, oh yeah, they all know that. They're like, oh yeah. He said he was for the people, and then they didn't they're like, okay, we've gone far enough to get the hearts and minds, but he was like, no, we're really going to free our people, and they were like, nope, and then obviously we know what happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think it's just a BlackRock thing with the war, and we'll watch the gasoline prices go up and the economy, at some point crash. And they're talking about raising minimum wage. And like I said, people think it's all good, but it's just going to be a big old fiasco with, losing jobs.
It's all designed to topple pretty much
Like you
per
said,
dollar.
the old currency. Yeah, that's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's nothing. They're not, it has nothing to do with anything. The whole nuclear weapon thing is like, I think they'd have launched one already. I'm pretty sure, I think they just kind of want to exist. And I'm not saying that they have a bunch of radical, the mullahs are pretty crazy, right?
Right.
But I'm like, well, I don't know. Y'all put them in charge. That's why I don't feel sorry for America, because we're the ones who put the mullahs in charge, and we ousted, the Shah.
Right.
America did that. America does everything. There is nothing, literally, true history. There's nothing we don't got our damn hands in. So that's why I'm like, I don't care. Babylon got its hands in everything. I don't give a shit. I don't feel sorry for them. Like, I don't like, I'm not going to hear no sob stories. When I was in the Army, I just felt like, oh, hoorah, this and that. But I'm like, no, now I know what I know. I'm thinking, I think, we burned down the Reichstag building. You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly.
I don't buy none of that stuff anymore. I don't. Every time I hear somebody talking on TV, like, we're going to do this, and I'm thinking, yeah, right.
Right.
Ishtar, yeah, whatever. Ishtar's talking, she don't give a shit. Oh yeah, do you remember that guy? His name was Philip Marshall. He was a pilot out of Arizona, and they killed him, his daughter, his son, and the dog.
I do remember. Yes.
Because what did he do? He wrote that book, which they were going to publish, but then they killed his family, and they never found the book or whatever, all that box of paperwork. But I remember he did like one interview. He said he had, like, I don't know, 15,000 hours or whatever on the 757. He just said the one that turned like either 175 or the second tower, the first tower. He goes, I couldn't make that plane turn those kind of G's.
Right.
So what his thing was, he said the whole plot of his book was, he found out that they built those planes that went into the towers. They got a bunch of parts and built them at that boneyard in Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
And then there were drones. They didn't have nobody on them planes. And NASA, they had drone 747s. There's footage of that shit from the 70s, testing them with no landing gear, half landing gear. They're landing these things, these 747s, remote control 747s in the desert, testing them all different ways to see how they break up or they don't break up or whatever. So you're telling me that out of nowhere, we can't have a drone 757?
Right.
747's biggest damn aircraft they ever made. I mean, besides like the Dreamliner, you know what I mean? Like that 747 was the biggest plane for decades. And there were drones, tons of footage of them. So he just said that. And once he said it, he goes, oh no, he goes, I could tell you the tail numbers. He goes, they put them all together at this boneyard, Arizona, dead. That's it. That's all I was like, yeah, I know it's all bullshit.
Oh, what a tangled web they weave.
Right. That's all, it's everything. Like I said, I'm just a realist now. I'm waiting for 3 good guys to show up, 2 witnesses in the Lord.
Right.
I'm anything else is just whatever. I don't pay attention to it.
I think, yeah, like I said, I mean, I've gotten to the point where I put out very little content. I'm concentrating on, what's to come. I mean, what's your excuse going to be if Jesus shows up? Well, we know it's not going to be like tomorrow or anything, but when he does show up, what's going to be your excuse? Well, I'm sorry, I was putting out TikTok videos and I was kind of too busy to read the Bible. That's not going to fly.
Right. And I think everything's so simple in my opinion, the Bible's simple.
It is.
It just tells you, I mean, but it's like, I feel like I fought against him so much before I converted, before he, and everybody probably knows my story about it. I've said it a million times, but I think that before I converted, I guess, I was like, and I've heard this story from a lot of other people, that they felt like that they were like, well, you know what? I can't do this and I can't do that. And he's on, but it ain't really that. Like he just told me about myself, that I don't look at I don't look at nothing with love, and I don't look at anything with humbleness, like very simple things.
Yeah.
He didn't say, well, you drink in the army and, I can't be having no drunkards, or he didn't say nothing about that.
Right.
I'm not saying that, you should go do it, but I just felt like when he showed up to me, like, why, he told me like the good stuff. He told me about and he was right. Like I said, that's why you can't beat him, join him, because I hated him. But he just told me that, he goes, you don't find love in anything. You don't find humbleness in anything. And, this is all after, like I said, he goes, you got free will. You do what you want. But when somebody cries out for you, I'm going to do something about it. That's what he told me. When somebody prays, when a believing person cries out to me, sanctify him, put him on the altar, he's coming to get you. I've always said that. So don't be acting up out there, because somebody's going to pray for you, then he's going to get you.
So he's going to pray for you. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's true. That's the only way I've known it, Lori. That's the only, that he told me, that the most powerful person in existence told me, you got free will, John. I don't care what you do. But when somebody prays for you, puts you on that altar, sanctifies you, I'm going to do something about it. That's what he said.
Wow.
So, and he, like I said, he didn't say nothing about no, drinking and doing whatever. I don't know. He didn't say nothing. I'm like I said, don't go do it. But that's not a natural thing. That's not a human waking up to go do evil. Just isn't natural. Like you're influenced, or you got a screw loose, or something's going on.
Yeah.
Right. Humans don't wake up and be like, I'm gonna go be a terrorist today. I'm gonna go do this today. And I ain't saying there aren't terrorists, but I'm gonna tell you, that's another thing about 9/11. Like, I just don't. Where is these incredible attacks, man? The guy used a truck in New Orleans. Like, that's like the most basic ass thing you could do. Like, how do they go from hijacking aircraft from 4 different airports and flying them precisely in the buildings to all I could rent was an F-150? You know what I mean?
Right. Oh God, that's funny.
It's just dumb. And like, I've never been on a cruise, but I've heard a lot of stories about cruises and stuff. And you're out there in the water, international waters. There's no Coast Guard. There's nobody watching you. You know what I mean? Why can't some pirates pack up a bunch of damn fertilizer, enough to make a concussive charged boat, and drive into the side of it? They got 6,000 people on a cruise ship. I'm going to go blow a hole in it. I'm going to sink that son of a bitch.
Right.
They've never been attacked. That's why I know there ain't no terrorists.
I never thought about that.
Right. I look at it from a whole nother, I'm just like, they got aircraft, but this clown can barely rent an F-150 to run over people. Like, that's basic bitch stuff. Like, how did they go from aircraft to trucks? But a cruise ship ain't got nobody. There's no escorts. There's no Coast Guard cutter. There ain't. That step kid murdered his sister and put a life jacket, covered her up with a sheet. Ain't nobody fucking noticed till lunchtime. You think that there's a protective boat nearby? They get back to port. Where's your sister at? Dead. You know what I mean? So you're telling me
Right.
where are the fucking terrorists at? All I'm saying, that's it. It just makes no sense. It doesn't make any sense. You got people killing people on a cruise ship. Nobody knows about it. At lunchtime, coming around like, okay, yeah, well, she's missing. And then, but a terrorist can't pack a boat from Mexico. And I'm not picking on Mexicans. I'm just saying, like, a pirate ship can come from anywhere and blow a hole in that son of a bitch, and it'll sink. But it hasn't happened. That's weird. I don't know. But to me, there ain't no terrorists.
Yeah, I think that we always have to have a boogeyman, John.
Right. Yeah. It just yeah.
Yeah,
Some
yeah.
teacher
And
some
mainstream
nerd.
media, and if you don't know who the boogeyman is of the day or the week or the month, mainstream media will be sure to tell you about it.
Right. All these, that's what I'm saying. Like, something's going on with all these spectacular things. Like, you have a teacher, he's kind of nerdy. The correspondent guy, he has a Mossberg pump shotgun, which, you know, those been around forever.
Mm-hmm.
And they said he put it together. I don't know about the put it together part. I don't recall a model like that. But you know, I don't know. I just, maybe a foldable stock. I've seen that before on a Mossberg shotgun, but I never seen one you put together. But anyhow, but he runs by people, and then they don't even shoot him. That was friendly fire, they said. And he trips, like, takes his clothes off. They got him naked, and they, you know what I mean? Like, why? I don't know. Maybe they do that, but. And then you got like Thomas Crooks and Butler. Like, that's obviously a lot of shit going on with that. That's a weird story in itself. They don't have any utensils at his house, or
Yeah.
it's like everything is so like, yeah, airplanes. We hijacked at the same time 4 different aircraft, and it's like Thomas Crooks looks retarded, and he has a cleft lip. You know what I mean? It just. They use a picture. I mean, maybe he did look like, I don't know. There's a picture of him from his, like, he's in 5th grade or whatever they use. I just don't get it, man. It's like, you can tell the real operations, the inside shit, from, like, I ran out of money operations.
Yeah, because I mean, back in the day, when and this I can say with experience, but back in the day when a false flag event happened, it looked like a real event. Now a false flag event happens and you're like, duh. You know, I mean, you're picking out everything. They literally are not even trying anymore.
Right. I mean, and even like poor old Charlie. I mean, it's so close. You know they're all involved. You know every fucking one of them knows what happened. And the thing is, I don't care if you got the devil's fucking help. The devil wanted him to crack, because he's going to get your ass anyways in the end.
Right.
One of them's going to slip up. It's coming. I wish Candace would say something, like, it's only a matter of time before one of you slips up, and it's going to bring down the whole thing.
We haven't talked since Charlie Kirk. What are your thoughts on it, real quick? I mean, my thoughts, and I do listen to Candace Owens, and for the people that are attacking Candace Owens, saying she's a liar, there's not one word that woman has said that's been turned out to be a
right. They can't get her on nothing.
Well, she doesn't bring receipts. She doesn't have to bring receipts, because she puts the information out there, and people like Baron Coleman and Ian pick it up, and they're the ones that are bringing the receipts. There were Egyptian planes that day. There was a trip to the fort in what is it, Hochaka or whatever in Arizona.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And if you guys look at it, okay, so the first theory was that his mic exploded. It was an exploding mic, and it was like, oh my God, that wasn't it. Bullshit, because the plant that has the government contract that makes those mic explosives was in Tennessee. that exploded a month after that theory went out and killed everybody in it who had the Department of Defense contract.
Right.
Baron Coleman played the 911 or the police scanner. On the way, when they had Charlie in the SUV on the way to the hospital, there was a patrolman that said that he saw somebody hanging out of the car. Charlie wasn't dead when he got in that car, but they killed him in there because he was fighting for his life.
Right. Right. I mean, people say what they want about Candace. There's nothing. Or she's a white hat. I don't believe in that cute. I don't listen to that.
I don't believe in that shit either. No, I'm still waiting for the tribunals.
Right. Candace, fucking that she ain't nobody but Candace Owens. She's who she is. It's her track record. There's nothing. There's no kind of she works for this. But I don't fucking buy that shit because what does she gain? No, she's a grifter, or whatever the fucking word that is. She's a millionaire. Why does she need more money?
The only grifter in that whole thing is Erica Kirk.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, Candace is happy with her little wealth. Erica got a bunch of money from whoever, hundreds of millions of dollars, and she's still out there. But that's just what she is. She's a dumbass, and she may be whatever, but like she's a psychopath. And then, if whether Candace says it or that other lady, but it's like everybody sees it, those fake ass tears. And I don't know, man. I think I can't.
Did you hear the video? Did you hear the video from Saturday night?
I want to go home.
Did you hear the video that I'm talking about when she's being escorted out and she's like, I just want to go home? Did you hear there was a guy in the background? He goes, what's that?
Candace today offered $10,000 for that, for anybody on the other side of the hallway from Erica that caught that audio.
What do you mean? Why?
Because Candace said that a CNN reporter was ready to record Erica Kirk saying that. Erica told her to get ready, and the lady recording it was a CNN live anchor. So Candace Owens today said, if anybody was has the same footage, but from across the hall, like that little space they were standing around at, she goes, I'll give you $10,000, no questions asked.
Oh, wow.
She said it today because she said she reached out. She said it's a CNN news anchor. She reached out to that CNN news anchor and said, who gave you that footage? Did you film that yourself, or were you given that? And the lady won't respond. So Candace said, if anybody else has cell phone video of the other side of the floor,
I just want to go. What we did is some real deep, disturbed emotions in that room. One of whom was Erica Kirk. As I
couldn't shut it off. Sorry.
Candace said anybody on the other side of that wall got video of that, 10 grand.
Well, if you listen closely, listen to the background people talking. Hold on a second.
I just want to go. What we did see is
that's not going to do it. You gotta listen to. Let's try this one.
I just want to go.
Right there. Did you hear somebody say in the background? Why so sad? I thought that was pretty funny.
Right,
Why
because that's what I'm saying. People weren't in on it. Only one person was filming that. So Candace is like, I want to have another view of the same moment from the other side of that wall. She said, standing across the way from Erica, and she goes, I'll give you 10 grand. No questions asked.
Wow. Crazy.
Because Candace is like, that was fake. That was staged. The CNN lady said, walk this way and say, I want to go home. So, yeah, I mean, they know. Yeah, that's my opinion. I mean, Candace is right. Baron Coleman. They're
Yeah.
they're just speaking truth. Like they're tired. Everybody's tired of this bullshit.
Yep.
And
Exactly.
but like I said, they're if Colvette, Neff, they're all in on it. Tyler, the little stole the camera footage or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, Brian Harpaul, they all know what happened, but it's only a matter. And in my opinion, I think Candace has some. I think Candace has a nuke.
Well, here's the thing: is a lot of people are like, she's lying, she's this and that, and I do make comments when I see a post like that, because I'll say, you know what, if Candace is lying, then Erica Kirk has a defamation and a slander suit. But the problem with that is you can't win a slander or defamation suit if you're telling the truth.
Right.
So and everything, you know what, Erica Kirk and the people at TPUSA, you know what they're all worried about? They're worried about discovery, because then it's gonna screw them.
Right. Just like
and everybody's related over there. You got Mikey. Okay, Mikey was Charlie's executive assistant. Okay, his father, Mikey's father, was Charlie's pastor, and his brother was the CFO of Turning Point USA, and also he was a representative in the Arizona government. He was a representative of Mesa. So they're all related in it. And the number of shell companies that is under the TPUSA umbrella, holy hell. But you know what got Charlie killed? You want to know what got Charlie killed? Questioning Israel.
Yeah, he asked that, and he asked where the money went.
He asked for the money, yeah. But he said that he believed that that Netanyahu was going to commit genocide on Gaza. And he also said the same thing I said, is that on October 6th, or October, was it date? October 6th?
7th.
There was a stand down order. There is no way in hell that many hours went by without the Israeli government going to help those people.
Right.
The Hannibal protocol was initiated that day, along with a stand down order. I'm positive of it. So was Charlie.
Right. Right. So, I mean, yeah, like I said, it just, I think Candace already has, I think she lets them just look like total fucking fools. And then they come out and say, I wake up and people like Candace Owens say I murdered my, I mean, Erica's just digging their hole. I think Candace has like, I don't know how she holds it in, but she's that fucking slick.
I know, right?
But I think Candace has like the fucking smoking gun, basically.
I think so too. I think she's just waiting it out. So
right. I think she's letting it build because whatever she has, I think she brings down TPUSA. And I'm glad too, because all those people involved are just a bunch of gun running Mark Driscolls, take the checkbook from your wife kind of preaching to that guy. I can't stand those fucking guys, man. Yeah. Talk about Jesus wants you to do, if your wife asks you for the checkbook, she's a Jezebel. He says that shit.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Good Lord. Unbelievable. We have a question from somebody regarding is it worth buying the cheaper Sidonia book rather than the first edition?
Yes. Okay. So Timothy Alberino somehow got it published, and it's supposed to be $25, but it's got everything in it. It's got everything the original has in it.
Okay. Cool. And that's the one that's like hundreds of dollars, isn't it?
Which one? The original?
Yeah.
Yeah, the original's like I swear like $5 or $6 grand. But yeah, everything that I don't know who Tim put it through, but it does in fact have everything. Nothing's been taken out. It's all the original pictures and everything.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that. To me, I don't know Tim. Sometimes I think he's real political now, but I know him. I remember all his old podcasts from over 10 years ago. Well, because they try to take him out too, but I don't know what happened to him. I don't know if he's just kind of lying low and not saying a whole lot of stuff. But I'm glad that he did do that. He brought that that book back. That's like I always harp on David Flynn. Like that, David Flynn is the OG. He's the original Nephilim guy.
Yep. Absolutely. I'm going to give you guys a I guess I can't find it. I'm getting tired. I don't remember what it is. Howard Nema's website, guys, if you can remember what it is. Truth Talk. I can't remember it. But his website over there's got all kinds of books. And the PDFs of books, and you don't have to pay for them, and it's all free. And I just can't remember what it is. Deb, do you guys remember? Ken, Deb, Rick, Charity, do you guys remember what Howard's? I can't think of it. Anyways, I will put the link in the description. But he has all kinds of books. Like I said, PDFs of books. I actually sent him. I found a book a couple months ago that I sent him, and he's writing a book too. So we're gonna get that one too.
The other book I always recommend. You could probably still get it, I'm sure. Is it's a good. I call it a good beginner's book. If you want to get kind of caught up quickly, it's Earth's Earliest Ages.
What's it called?
Earth's, like Earth, apostrophe S, Earliest Ages by George Pember.
Why does that name sound familiar?
Well, he wrote it in 1876.
Oh. Here it is. I will put it on the screen for you guys.
Yeah, that book, because George Pember wrote 1876. He talked about Helena Blavatsky, the Ascending Masters. Like, it's a good book. It'll catch you up. So
cool, nice. All right.
I got that book. Let me think. I got it in 2015 when I converted to a believer, and it summed up, like, that's how the light bulb went off in my head. Was like, oh, okay, so fallen angels came down and had more technology than us and tricked us. That was it.
And tricked us. Great.
So I mean, you know what I mean? That's why I say it's just simple to me now. I don't have to go to a dry erase board and write all these formulas and it's like no, fallen angels got kicked out. They got more technology than us. They tricked us.
The end.
That's it. That's it. The end. Just believe in the Lord.
Well, John, thank you for coming on tonight.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I'll be back.
Yeah, and have you back again when you decide that there's something that you really, really, really want to come back out for, and come on.
Right. Yeah. I'll try to make it to where make an appearance, but yeah.
I'm right there with you. I told you I am.
Right.
You're not the only one that has got this. Just, it's not something, I don't know what it is. I can put my finger on it, but yeah. Thank you so much for joining us, John. You guys can still find his videos on YouTube. Big John's Adventures.
Yep. Big John. Yep.
And he's over on TikTok as well. Same name? Or no, you're just Big John over there.
Yeah, it's Big John 249 backup, I believe, is the actual link.
Yeah. If you can't find him, leave a message or a comment underneath the video, and I will make sure that you get the link. So take care of yourself, John. I want to thank you for joining us.
I will. See you later.
Right. I thank everybody in the chat room for joining us tonight. I want to thank all of our moderators. And until next time, remember, eyes open, no fear.